Yo, what's up, guys? We just cashed out an absolute banger on PrizePicks, and most importantly, NFL lines are out. So, NFL lines are out, and there's some really good discrepancies available in the market that we're going to go through. So, for example, one of the plays I just locked in, I believe it's still available, is Chubb over 78.5 yards. If you look at every other sports book, right? So, you look at every single other sports book, they have Chubb's line. PrizePicks has his line at 90.5. Underdog Fantasy has his line at, ParlayPlay has his line at 92.5. So again, if you're new to sports betting, anyone new to sports betting doesn't really understand it, you want to have as many books as possible. More sports books means more profitable bets. All these books have different lines from one another. The market is super inefficient, super fragmented. Let me make sure this stream is running correctly. It's running correctly. What's up, guys? Yeah, let's hit another 5-pick. Anyways, if anyone has any questions about whatever we talk about in this live stream and I don't get to it, you can feel free to email me. I respond pretty quickly. But anyways, right? So like a lot of people, it doesn't make sense. Over 78 half, why would I hit the under 92 half? Well, the way you're going to start to make serious profit sports betting is start to think like a hedge fund, like an investor. It's kind of like you're buying a stock at 78.50. We're taking Chubb's over, and then we could sell Chubb, take his under, 92 half, right? You're working into a middle. But what I ended up doing is if you look at all the other sports books, all the other books have Chubb's line above 90 rushing yards. So it kind of seems like Underdog Fantasy is the one asleep at the wheel, setting his line at 78.5. And we can look through the data. Again, I included a promo code for 2 free weeks of OddsJam. If you want to try it out, any of these betting tools, there's a bunch of different options out there. But what we'll do is we can take a look at Chubb. We can see where his line is now. Underdog Fantasy just outright removed him, it looks like. They had his line at 78.5. We hit it. We hit it because all the other sports books have his line significantly higher, 90, 88.5, 93.5. So long story short, we're going to look for some good betting opportunities. So what we can do is we can start out, wow, it looks like they literally pulled did they literally just pull every NFL line out there? If so, that's kind of lame. I'm sure we'll find some bets on other sportsbooks as well, but you can see I don't even see any NFL lines. It looks like they just removed all of their, what about Daniel Jones? Daniel Jones. So some of these plays it looks like are bouncing back. We'll have to take a look. I'm sure we'll find some plays. So let's refresh this and let's see if there's anything new out there. So honestly, pretty dry on Underdog. So we'll head over to PrizePicks. I've explained this before. More books you have, the better anyways. Like you can see all these books, first of all, a lot of them, they have to market against each other. So you can see PrizePicks. You still got a lot of time to bet this, but they're setting Dak Prescott, his passing yards line at 0.5 yards, right? So this is a promo. It's free money. He's obviously going to go over half of a passing yard, so you want to take us over. But anyways, let's go here. Damn, the board looks pretty dry. I'm not sure what happened. It looks like all the NFL plays that we just hit, a lot of them moved or evaporated. I mean, I'm sure we'll find some bets, so we'll just have to give it a sec. Honestly, the board's pretty dry. No. Yeah, so in general, there's not much value out there, so we can take a look at the sports books. I'm sure some plays will come back on Underdog Fantasy. But again, like what this tool does, this fantasy optimizer, is it's kind of pointing out discrepancies between PrizePicks and Underdog Fantasy for people who use these fantasy platforms, whereas the Positive EV tool is much better for betting on sports books, right? So there's hundreds of sports books out there, Fliff, FanDuel, DraftKings, Caesars. And again, you never know where the value is going to be on a given day. So typically I set my max odds kind of around plus 190. And then you just want to, find some plays with value. So here's a college football bet that looks pretty decent for this weekend. Fresno State plus 170 on WinBet. Maybe WinBet's a sportsbook you have access to, maybe it's not. But you can see all these other books, right? They all have, Fresno State kind of around plus 150. So again, what's crazy about sports betting is all these books have their own models, sophisticated models. They're moving around lines based on where action's coming in the market. So you can see Pinnacle, they had Fresno State up at plus 151. They've moved them down to plus 147 over the course of the last couple days. So action clearly has been coming in a bit on Fresno State. You can see DraftKings has moved from plus 170 down to plus 150. So DraftKings bounces lines a lot. You can see plus 160 to plus 170. They did that a million times. But anyways, let's refresh this and we can take a look. We can see what's out there. So here's a good play on FanDuel. Right? FanDuel's a book I love. A lot of people ask me, oh, why don't you bet on this? And the reason I won't bet on it right now is currently I don't have access to it. But if you wanted to place this bet, you can see in the Braves game, the hard part is you really have to know how to navigate these sports books. So if you go to FanDuel, for example, we'd want to navigate over to pitcher props, and then we'd want to move quickly and get down this play on Elder before the line moves. So you can see here, you may get confused oh, his strikeout line is 3.5. But it's not 3.5. You have to go to alternate strikeouts and take his 5+ strikeouts. So over 4.5 is the same as 5+. Right? 5+ strikeouts over 4.5, they both win if he throws 4.5 or more strikeouts. So this is called an alternate line. So again, a lot of these sports books like FanDuel, they just keep adding markets. Like FanDuel has strikeout lines, but then they also have these alternate strikeout lines. And there can be value anywhere. There can be value on the main line, there can be value on the alternates. And here you can see they're giving us a really good line on Elder to go 5+ strikeouts, right? They're pricing this at plus 144 when all these other books, all these other data points are pricing this around, Caesars Sportsbook is saying, hey, according to our model, they have this priced around, they actually just updated it to minus 104. So you can see Caesars just moved it from plus 106 to minus 104. So Caesars is moving odds lower on the over. And FanDuel is giving us plus 144. So a lot of people ask me oh, why don't you focus on, what they did the last 5 games? Stuff like this, like PrizePicks, so show some charts for oh, last 5 games. Oh, Reese Olson, we should take him over 2.5 earned runs because he's gone over in 4 of his last 5 games. But again, you got to remember, this is priced into the market. Sportsbook odds reflect what happened in the last game. Just like if, Mark Zuckerberg dies, that'll be reflected in the price of Facebook stock tomorrow. It's no different here. Everything ends up being reflected in the market. Anyways, let's go back to Underdog Fantasy. Let's refresh this. Are there really just not going to be plays? So you can see there's a couple plays showing up, but they're in yellow. Not a ton of value. So seems like most of the value's on the sports books today. And unfortunately, so you can see FanDuel, did they already move this down? They already moved it down to plus 140. You can see they're showing it in red. Right? They're telling us, hey, we just updated it to plus 140. So these great lines don't last forever. You want to move quickly. FanDuel, I don't know why, but they ripped the line up to plus 144, way out of sync with the rest of the market, giving us a ton of value on this play. And they just brought it a little more back down to life at plus 140. So again, if you want to know how sportsbooks work, the way they work is they bake in the VIG to their market. This is the way every sportsbook works. Every single one. You can talk to anyone who works at a sportsbook. They will tell you this is how their sportsbook works. Right? What they do is they have models. So Caesars Sportsbook, for example, has a model that spits out, hey, here's what we think the win probability for the bets are. So according to Caesars Sportsbook, what they start with is they have this fancy model. It's a $10 billion company. They have pretty good models. And they're saying, hey, we think this line, the over is 46.56% to win, which correlates to plus 114 odds, right? Every odd has an associated win probability. So if that doesn't make sense to you, you can think about it. Plus 200 odds means a 2-to-1 underdog, means the sportsbook is saying that team is 1/3 to win the game. Plus 200, 2-to-1 underdog, 1 out of 3 times they're going to win the game, 33% win probability. So Caesars Sportsbook has this line minus 104 on the over, minus 141 on the under, right? So if you remove the VIG, right, the fair line, so the way Caesars works is they have models that spit out, hey, We think the over is 46.56% to occur. The under is 53.44% to occur. So the fair line is plus 144, right? And we're going to let sports bettors bet at minus 104. So sportsbooks make money by and you can see FanDuel already back down to life at plus 118. So that just goes to show you these really good betting opportunities. When a sportsbook is really slipping up, you got to be on it. As a sports bettor, when you're finding sharp bets, you are taking advantage of inefficiencies in the market. That's a good bet. If there's no inefficiency, there's no value, it's not a good bet, right? Because sportsbooks are baking in the vig. They're baking in the juice. The way you're going to make money is betting things at plus 144 when a sportsbook is screwing up. So again, according to Caesars, they have this line minus 104, minus 141. This is their market with the VIG removed, or with the VIG baked into the market. So we want to do the opposite of what a sportsbook is doing and remove the VIG. It's no VIG odds. It's just like a stockbroker. If a stockbroker says, hey, I'll buy this stock for $9, I'll sell it for $11, they think the price is actually worth $10. They're buying it for $9. They're market makers, right? They're dealers, right? They set a spread. So it's the same thing here. Sportsbooks have this spread baked into the market. Caesars has this 45-cent spread. So we just want to remove it. And once you remove it, you see the fair price with the VIG removed is plus 115. So according to Caesars, the true line with the VIG removed, what the over should be priced at, is plus 115, right? Plus 114.76. And FanDuel's giving us plus 140. So you're getting better odds than the fair odds, right? It's kind of like if you knew a stock was worth $10 and you could buy it for $8. You're getting value relative to the market. And you can do that for every sports book. So DraftKings had this line 100 minus 135, plus 100 on the over, minus 135 on the under. So if you remove the VIG, you see the fair price with the VIG removed is very similar to Caesars, about plus 115. That's the true line with the VIG removed, with the spread removed that books bake into their market. And we're getting plus 140 on FanDuel, which is clear value. So again, OddsJam, very simple tool. All it's doing is reading in all these tens of thousands of lines in the market and trying to point out those few spots of gold where a sportsbook's actually screwing up a line, right? Where they're actually messing up a line and where there's enough value to justify betting it. So let's go back here. Let's go back to Underdog Fantasy now, or PrizePicks. We can look at any of these sports books. Oh, there we go. They brought back their NFL lines. Let's go. So we'll go back here to Underdog Fantasy, and let's take a look at these lines. So the first play that looks pretty incredible, right? And some of these plays I've already locked in, so I'll show you. I already have Mac Jones under 235.5 passing yards, but you're going to see OddsJam is recommending, hey, bet him. So again, you already lost 6 yards of value because you're late, and I was fast. 235.5, Underdog Fantasy is realizing, shit, we're screwing up our line. They've reduced it to 229.5. So again, why is this bet good? I mean, just use your brain, right? Follow the other data points in the market. All the other books are saying, hey, this line should be at 215.5. And that is a huge difference, 215.5 versus 229.5. So you have to remember, a lot of people are like, 14 yards doesn't seem like that big of a deal. He's not going to end up with 10 passing yards. He's not going to end up with 1,000, right? So the middle of the distribution around 225 yards is a lot higher probability. So these yards really matter. And this really matters if you're trying to find profitable bets on Underdog Fantasy, right? These are big differences. So if I were you, again, I've already bet these in Underdog Fantasy. What's fucking annoying about them is they only allow a max bet size of $100. Otherwise, I would have slammed the shit out of this. And again, that's one of the cons. A lot of people would be like, I don't want to bet smart because Underdog may reduce my betting limits from $400 to $100 like you. And it's then be broke and lose money sports betting, you fucking idiot, right? So if you make money, sure, Underdog may cut your bet sizes, but you either make money or you don't make money, and you can pick for yourself. And then, it looks like Underdog's model, they're just screwing up every QB. So this would be a great 3-pick entry to go with. Mac Jones, Daniel Jones, Trevor Lawrence, take them all under. They're all very far off from the rest of the market. So you look at Trevor Lawrence, they have his line at 245 half. So we found 3 lines in the market where Underdog Fantasy is just screwing up their lines. And I promise you, these plays will not be around tomorrow. A lot of people ask, should I already bet this? The games are kind of far away, which is a great question. But again, these inefficiencies aren't going to last forever. This isn't a promo like the one on PrizePicks where you can bet this up until game time. I can almost guarantee you, in the same way Nick Chubb, he's already come from 78 half. Do they even have his lineup anymore? They just outright removed his line. But you can see here, do I already have Trevor Lawrence? So I already have Trevor Lawrence under 258 half. And then I have Mac Jones under 235 half, 217 half. So have they moved any of these lines? So Daniel Jones and Mac Jones, the value is already getting squeezed out of the market. And then there's not going to be any good bets. So you never know also when the good bets are going to occur. I didn't know Underdog Fantasy was going to drop their NFL lines at, 4:35 p.m. Eastern on a Monday, August 28th, and they were going to screw them all up. These things can happen at any given time. So 1, 2, 3, I've already bet all this stuff. Ryan Tannehill, I did not bet, however. And again, another option is if you're like, I don't really love, the idea of betting too much on this. Well, first of all, you could bet it smaller, or second of all, you could middle bet this. You could take the over, take the under, buy a stock for 205.50, sell it at 218.50. That's a good data-driven trade. Anyways, there's also some esports, so might as well make a little esports slip while we're at it. So if you look at this player, Elgi, you can see all from the fantasy optimizer. Every other sportsbook has his line significantly lower, 40, 40 and a half, 40 and a half. 41 and a half. So again, everyone wants to be all clever and think they can build their own model to predict the future and outsmart the sportsbooks. I don't know what to tell you. Good luck with that. So long story short, I'm going to start building my own slip. I really like these first 3 picks. You can include them in a 3-pick entry, but I've already, bet all 3 of them to my maximum betting limit, so I'm not going to be able to place that. Did I already bet Deshaun Watson? Mr. Massage Boy, and you can see I already have him under 248 half, so you can include that if you haven't already. And then I'm going to go with Elig under 43. And again, a lot of people will say, I'm not sure about betting this. I don't know much about CSGO, and that's a great point. But again, even if you watch every game, the reason sportsbooks are profitable, every sports bettor watches sports. Watching sports, and they're all in business and highly profitable. Watching sports has no correlation to making money sports betting. Everyone betting on sports watches sports and thinks they know sports, right? And still, the sportsbooks make a ton of money. The way you're going to beat them is following the data, finding these plays with a mathematical edge. So what would be great, Lamar Jackson over in rushing yards, Stevenson over in rushing yards. Maybe we got a play going on. So here we have Lamar over in rushing yards. So here we have a 3-pick entry, so we could lock that in, or we can get greedy and go for a 5-pick entry if we're feeling balls on. So we can go ahead, we can do that. We got 2 unders, 2 overs. Try to make sure, none of your picks are in the same game. You don't want any negative correlation. Damn, there's a lot of stuff showing up. So you can see you got Russell Wilson over in passing yards. Come on. So we can keep going through. There are a lot of plays. Long story short, with the NFL dropping, with the NFL turning on today. So we can go here. Hex to under 39.5. There's just a ton of plays. I don't even know what I want to go with. So maybe we go with this play. So this is another esports play, underdog line at 6. All the other sportsbooks line at 6.5. And again, we found plays with an edge. Not saying any of them are locks, but we have plays with an edge, right? We got some NFL. 3 NFL plays. And Underdog Fantasy screwing up a lot of lines right now. They must have taken the day off. Then we got an esports play, and then we got 2 esports plays, League of Legends and CSGO. And it looks like the most random slip of all time. But hey, if that's where the value is, that's where the value is. Are you going to take my bet? What is going on here? Okay, there we go. And there we go. Underdog Fantasy takes the bet. 5-pick entry. I played it with insurance. Insurance from a mathematical standpoint is a little bit better. What's up, guys? Is a little bit better. But what I can do is I can also show you. This article kind of breaks down like, oh, how many picks do you want to go with on PrizePicks on Underdog Fantasy? If you want to take a look at that. Clink pulled. Yeah, over in rushing for Lamar, not passing. Good question. If Kingcroft moved, I would recommend taking maybe Hexed under 39.5. PrizePicks has his line at 36.5. And I don't think people understand, like, this is a huge discrepancy. If you look tomorrow, you don't see 20-yard passing discrepancies on Daniel Jones. That is crazy. That is crazy. Literally crazy. It's like seeing a stock at 213.50 and then at 195.5. Like, you don't have to overthink this and try to build some supermodel to predict the future. That's not what works. It's finding stuff like this. And again, you don't need to use OddsJam. You can look through this stuff manually and find these plays. So you can do it. OddsJam is just reading in the data and pointing it out to you to help you, whatever, make money. So we can go here and we can refresh this. And you can see there's some good plays between different sportsbooks out there. We got some plays on FanDuel. We got some plays on Bovada. So again, this is the main tool I use. Definitely, like, Underdog's a great book, but there's a lot of sports books out there. So, like, this play, for example, I mean, this looks ridiculous. Unfortunately, this sports book is only in New York, but what's different about the positive EV tool versus the fantasy optimizer is the fantasy optimizer is mainly pointing out discrepancies in where books are setting lines, right? Like, again, 213.5 versus 195.5. That's, of course, valuable information to have as a sports bettor. And again, earlier, it was an even bigger discrepancy, right? 217.5 versus, 195.5, which is crazy. 22-yard middle. That's wild. Whereas the positive EV tool right here is pointing out big discrepancies in odds. Like, probably not a shell shocker to anyone here that Utah minus 4.5 at minus 110 seems like a pretty good bet, considering other sports books have ripped their line. You can see Pinnacle, known to be one of the sharper or smarter sports books, has ripped this line from minus 147, from minus 107 to minus 147 over the past few days. And a lot of people will wonder, why did they move the line from minus 107 to minus 147? I don't know. Maybe there's weather changes. Maybe there's lineup changes. Maybe Utah, a player who was questionable, is now playing and he's really good. So Utah is more likely to cover the spread. Lines can move for a bunch of different reasons, right? Or maybe a bunch of sharp bettors started hammering Utah minus 4.5 and moved the line as they pounded the action in from minus 107 to minus 147. But that's the great thing about markets. It affects, where the line, it's just the price, right? It's based on supply and demand in the market. So unless you think you're smarter than everyone else, you follow the market, right? That's just kind of how it is. I don't know why, Facebook is up 1.67% today. But stock prices are based on supply and demand from everyone in the market. There's millions of people who wake up every day and their full-time job is think about which stock is too low and too high and do all this research into companies, their financials, every report they put out, right? And this is the conclusion where the stock price is currently trading. So if you told me I could buy Facebook at 180, I would put all my money in Facebook. If you told me I could buy it at 280, I'd put all my money in Facebook because you're getting 1026 to the most efficient betting market out there. And it's the same thing in sports betting. Follow the data. It's a foolproof way to make money. That's the great thing. When you're finding value, it doesn't matter why it's recommending that bet. Like, I would have bet Daniel Jones is over 170 passing yards if that was available. But that's not what's available. It's the under 213.5. Underdog has their line way too high compared to every other data point in the market. Same thing with Mac Jones. So you should be on the unders, right? Which is very confusing to new bettors because it's like, do I want to be on the over or the under? And it's like, what line? Obviously, you want to be on Mahomes over half of a passing yard and under 900 passing yards. So at what point do you want to flip from taking the over and the over to the under? And that's essentially the important thing that the market helps you determine. Damn, we got some WNBA bets showing up. Let's go. So we can place another WNBA play on Underdog Fantasy. So let's go to the WNBA. We can load up player points. Why not? And we can take a look at Jackie Young. And this play is absolutely beautiful. It's available on ParlayPlay as well. So PrizePicks has the line at 16.5. So again, most lines aren't discrepancies. We're looking for those few rare discrepancies in the market. So every book, you can see FanDuel, DraftKings, Caesars, the big three. You got $3 billion companies, $10 billion companies, really good models. They all have Jackie Young's line at 16.5, and more importantly, they all have her over as the juiced or the favored outcome, right? Like Caesars and DraftKings have the over at minus 120 and the unders at minus 110. So every sportsbook is saying, yo, we think she's more likely to go over 16.5 as opposed to under. More likely to go over 16.5 as opposed to under. And Underdog is just sitting with her line at 15.5. So that's a crazy good play. So let's take her over 15.5. And that will be the first pick that we go with. Thank you, Fantasy Optimizer. And let's refresh this because there were some other plays we could have locked in. So this play is an absolute beauty. And again, you could pair it with Daniel Jones, Mac Jones under if you didn't already bet it. I can assure you these NFL plays will not be around tomorrow. They are going to get hammered out of the market. Because the people who know how to make money will hammer them out of the market. So you can see there's some interesting plays out there. Let's look at MLB player earned runs. PrizePicks have a lineup on Elder. So just looking for the best thing out there. Lamar, Stevenson, we already have. So what we can do is we can throw in Hexed. Under 39.5. Nothing better than a good Esports under. And then you got Russell Wilson over 225.5. And again, a lot of people fall into the trap of, oh, but Russell Wilson, he's past his prime. I don't care. The market is telling me his line should be 10 yards higher. So this will be the play we go with on Underdog. Really good plays. Again, it sucks because I can only bet $100. But hey, that's just kind of how it is sometimes. That's my max betting size allowed on Underdog. So we'll hit that play. And there's our second play. And you can see there's some other plays. I mean, you can see there's all these tennis discrepancies. But the issue with tennis, so here's my play on Underdog. Yeah, we'll have some PrizePicks plays. Exactly. Buy the market at a discount and wait for a result, repeat. I mean, exactly. You hit it on the nail. So there we have the play. And then we can go to Grim, under 39.5. Right? And Isaiah, we already took that, unfortunately. Justin Herbert, over 279.5. Vivid picks, 10 yards higher. Thrive, 7 yards higher. PrizePicks, 8 yards higher. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy, crazy, crazy. And ideally, we could find some correlation. Mix in rushing plus receiving yards. I mean, it is crazy out here. So we can take Justin Herbert over. Maybe we make one last little 3-pick entry. While we're at it, following the market, getting some early NFL value while it's available. Any other plays we're in love with? So let's refresh this. And then we can go back here because, again, I know not everyone uses Underdog Fantasy. So you want to bet on FanDuel? That looks amazing. How about Corey Seager over 1.5 hits, plus 175, when the rest of the market is pricing this around plus 140? That seems like a no-brainer to me. And I'll have a lot of bets on FanDuel very shortly when I get back to fuck it. So we'll go with the Dota play. I do like a good old Dota play. So sometimes you can find some good correlation in Dota. Luna Galaxy, Quest Esports, Luna Galaxy. Okay. Man, a lot of tennis aces discrepancies. Crazy. There will be some plays on PrizePicks we can go through here in a bit, but let's just get this last play on Underdog Fantasy in, and then we can move on. So we have Grim under, okay. So we'll take Tad 2000, and we wanted to take him over 15. So this will be the final play that we can go with on Underdog. And that's another 3-pick. We're going to have a lot of sweats to wait on. But hey, if that's how it is, that's how it is. And then we can check out the sportsbooks. So again, if you're just tuning in, I mean, a lot of early value. And we got some decent looking plays so far, it seems like, for today on Underdog. So we have the Yuma. So we had our esports, positively correlated esports plays cash. Again, when you're betting on esports, Dota, League of Legends, players on opposing teams, you want to ideally take opposite directions. So if you're just tuning in, I mean, just a ton of bets on Underdog. Here's 5 picks right here. If you want to pause it, take a look. Here's 3 picks. Here's a 5 pick I played with insurance. They look like such random slips. It's hilarious. WNBA, CSGO, and NFL. Who would have thought? But if that's where the value is, hey, that's where we'll be betting. So then we can go back here, and we can take a look at FanDuel, right? Some really good tennis bet on Bovada. So again, it's pretty simple, right? Like, plus 100 odds, if you think about it, what is plus 100 odds? It's like you're flipping a coin with a friend for $100. Heads, you get $100. Tails, you give your friend $100. But the reason this is a really good bet on Bovada is you'll see DraftKings and Pinnacle both have your side of the coin as the favored outcome. So the other data points in the market, you know, DraftKings and Pinnacle are saying, hey, Iga Swiatek, her minus 7.5 game spread is the favorite outcome, right? DraftKings has it as a minus 120 favorite. Pinnacle is saying the same thing. And again, Pinnacle is known to be one of the sharper sportsbooks, and you can see they're moving lines towards Swiatek. So it's kind of like you get a coin where it's favored to show up on, you know, heads, and you're flipping it for $100 with a friend. It's like flipping a coin that's weighted in your favor. It's a no-brainer. So that would be a great play to go with on Bovada. Similarly on Fliff, Gaussman plus 100, right? You can see all the sports books have Gaussman's over as the favored or more likely outcome. So that's another coin you're flipping for with your friend for $100, but the coin is, once again, weighted in your favor. And again, there can be value on any sports book, which is why I've used over 40 sports books throughout my betting career and recommend using as many sports books as possible. So what we can do next is we'll go to PrizePicks here in a second, but maybe we look at, so positive EV, you know, again, this is, in my opinion, more profitable than the fantasy books, but I currently don't have access to FanDuel, DraftKings, stuff like that. But I'll hit a bunch of positive EV bets, you know, once I get access to them here in a few. So here's another great one. Damn, there are a lot of bets on Bovada right now. A lot of tennis value. You wouldn't expect it. Again, Sports betting market, super fragmented, super inefficient. That's why there's a lot of opportunity in it, a lot of opportunity to make money. A lot of bets out there right now. You can tell football is back. So again, one of the strategies, there's different strategies for making money. You know, we've discussed middle betting. For example, with this play on, Chubb. If you wanted to, you could middle bet. It sounds like a complicated term. It's really simple. Take the under 92 half, take the over 78 half. You're working yourself into a 14-yard middle, right? And again, his distribution is centered, right, around, 70, 80-ish yards. So these 14-yard gaps, like, that's a really big deal. The probability he ends up with 79 to, 92 rushing yards is pretty big, probably like 20-something%. So that's a great middle bet to put on if you wanted to, right? But another strategy, so early MLB lines, this play was available. DraftKings just ripped it. So there's nothing better than getting So here's an example of a play, early UFC play, right? Well, this game's tomorrow, UFC. Probably not the main guys, but you can see what's going on here. It's kind of interesting to follow the line movements. But essentially, like, DraftKings seems like the side screwing up here. So I would personally probably just take the bet on DraftKings here. Yasori Belagori. What a name, at minus 110 odds. But what you could do is, again, you could arbitrage bet this. So arbitrage betting is a strategy. You can't do it on Underdog Fantasy or on PrizePicks. Again, I got to show off the win, right? So, or on PrizePicks, where we hit this one from the live stream yesterday. But arbitrage betting is how I started sports betting and essentially win these sports books, right? Most plays aren't arbitrage bets. Most bets aren't profitable. But out of these tens of thousands of lines on Underdog Fantasy, literally tens of thousands, we're looking for those few rare spots where a book is screwing up so big, right, that it's actually a profitable bet. So you can see Silva is plus 116 on Pinnacle, right? So you are betting 100 to win 116, but on Belgo Rui, he's minus 110. You only have to bet $110 to win back your 100. So arbitrage betting is when you bet on both sports books, to guarantee yourself a risk-free profit. So this is the strategy. It's very boring because, again, all you're doing is turning things into risk-free profits, money line on DraftKings. But I'll give you an example of how this works, and then we'll go over to PrizePicks. Is on DraftKings, let's say we hit this for $300. The calculator is going to tell us, hey, bet Silva. And again, you need both sports books. The key to profitable sports betting is you're always going to need to have as many sports books as possible. So it's going to say, hey, bet 265.15. And again, like, a lot of people will be like, oh, this is crazy, too good to be true, risk-free money sports betting. But DraftKings doesn't allow $30,000 bet sizes. They don't. Maybe if you're their worst customer ever, just placing parlays, they'll increase your bet sizes to $30,000. But in general, they don't. So let's say you hit it for 300 on Pinnacle, you'll easily be able to get down $265. And we'll look through how this works. Belgo Rui wins. Right? And then we can just go through the math very briefly. I like to kind of show how this stuff works. Math is important. So if Silva wins, on DraftKings, we're down $300, right? We're just following the arbitrage calculator. This is the strategy I use to start sports betting. But on Pinnacle, we're up 265 times 1.16. We bet 265 at plus 116 odds. So we're up 307.40. We make a risk-free profit of 740. This is sports trading, right? You are literally capitalizing on inefficiencies in the market to make a risk-free profit. Now, on the other hand, if Belga Rui wins, you're down 265 on Pinnacle. On DraftKings, you're up 300 times 100 over 110. In both cases, you make a risk-free profit of $7. If you follow the calculator exactly and bet 265.15, you'll make $758 regardless of who wins. but I recommend rounding your numbers. It looks weird to bet 265.15. Just round your numbers a bit. Risk-free profit of, over $7 in both cases. I used to get home from work every single day and just hit arbitrage bet, arbitrage bet, arbitrage bet. And that's how I got the money to start OddsJam. And what we can do is we can go through here. You can see there's some early bets here between FanDuel, Bovada. There's different arbitrage plays available. Again, depending on the day, there may or may not be. There may be more, there may be less. But let's go to PrizePicks. Let's see if there's anything, we're in love with. So what we can do is we can get rid of football here. And let's take a look at, you can see there's, oh my God, there are huge tennis line discrepancies. Look at this player, James Duckworth. His line is 10 on PrizePicks. SportsBattle has his line at 14. That's insane, right? So a lot of these bets, I would recommend middling. So the reason I say that is here, SportsBattle has the line for Duckworth at 14. PrizePicks is at 10. I don't know who's wrong, right? I don't know. Which is why I would recommend middling it. There's only 2 data points. There's not that many sportsbooks that post lines on player aces, so it's not clear which side of the market is off. It's not like you're betting on, the MLB, where this play on Gaussman is clearly good. I mean, it's obvious. Every sportsbook has Gaussman favored, projected to go over 6.5 strikeouts, and Fliff has this line plus 100. Right? So it's like flipping a coin for a friend for $100, but the coin is weighted to land in your favor, right? Which you can see through the odds, right? Every other sportsbook is a data point. So there's a lot of plays on PrizePicks, but again, there's some headshot lines available out there. What did we play already? So there's some headshot lines out there that seem decent. Maybe we could make a little slip on PrizePicks. So we can go here. You could also middle hexed, right? It's crazy. We got him under 39.5. PrizePicks still has his line at 36.5. You could middle that if you wanted to. And then just a ton of tennis middles and line discrepancies in general. So this play, for example, is quite interesting. This play, there's more sportsbooks posting tennis lines. They both have Berrettini at 15.5, right? PrizePicks has his line at 16.5. So that seems decent. So we could go here, and we'd want to take his under, because all the other books have his line lower. And then we could go to, where did we want to go next? CSGO. And we can look at the headshot lines. Damn, there are a lot of strikeouts. Or sorry, there are a lot of lines. So we want Gallon under 5.5. Strikeouts or hits allowed? Under 5.5 strikeouts. So let's go here. Can we see this play on PrizePicks if I put it into the positive EV tool? So you can see here, this play on Gallon looks pretty good. Right, so again, PrizePicks is a platform where they don't change your payout based on you selecting over versus under. So the strategy for beating them is very simple. You're either finding lines where they're screwing up, just like we did on Underdog Fantasy for a lot of these plays, or you find spots where sportsbooks have an under really heavily favored. Right, so here, all the sportsbooks are saying, yo, the under is really heavily favored. The under is a lot more likely than the over, right? All the books have the under heavily favored. So that's a great play to go with on PrizePicks as well. So there's 2 strategies, and all of them will show up on this little, fantasy optimizer thing. So let's go to those headshot lines. So let's get rid of tennis for a second. I can't imagine this play on James Duckworth will last much longer. But maybe I'll try to middle that on SportsBattle here in a bit. So maybe we just take the PrizePicks side. And then I got to remember to middle bet it and take the under 14 on PrizePicks. That is a crazy, crazy middle. Right? And then we can go here. And let's get rid of tennis for now. ATP, WTA, and let's get rid of that. And let's take a look here. So we want Elegy over 19 headshots. All the other books have his line at 20.5 or 21.5. So this play on Gallon was an inefficiency. And then this play on the CSGO play is just solid. Right? And again, you could middle this if you wanted to, but I've already hit my maximum betting limit. But you could take his under 29 1/2. It's like buying a stock for 19, selling it at 21.50. Seems like a pretty good trade if you ask me. So that seems good. And then what else? I swear there was another CSGO play that looked good. Am I crazy? So we need one more pick. Again, on PrizePicks, I don't place 3 pick entries. They only give you a 5x payout. Again, on Underdog, they're giving us a 6x payout. 100 to win 600. PrizePicks only 100 to win 500. This stuff really matters, right? Long term in terms of your profitability. So don't take 3 pick entries on PrizePicks. Long story short. And it does not matter if you play it with insurance or not. They're both horrible. So Greinke over 2.5 strikeouts. That's good enough. That will be our final pick. He sucks, but 2.5 is such a low strikeout line. I mean, and this will be the play we go with on PrizePicks. And then we can lock it in for $100. So we found 5 really good picks. This play on Duckworth, I definitely am going to try to middle with the under 14 on SportsBattle. But this play seems solid. So yeah, exactly. So you can always, let's see. Any PrizePicks plays, buy at the market. Yeah, I'd recommend 1% of your bankroll on PrizePicks. You got to remember, this is not a parlay, right? You are still getting paid if you go 4 for 5 or 3 for 5. So in general, I'd recommend putting like 1% of your profit on it. If I have some free credit on a sharp sportsbook like BetOnline or Bookmaker, yeah, I definitely recommend the low holds page. Hex game already started, so this is what we'll go with right here on PrizePicks. And then we can go back here to the positive EV tool, right? And again, like, you can bounce around from book to book. You know, like on PrizePicks, there's some good plays. There may be some good bets on Fliff, on FanDuel. It kind of depends. Some people prefer arbitrage betting. Again, it's zero risk strategy. It's literally risk-free money sports betting. You can try it out. Feel free to let me know any questions. I mean, here's one between BetOnline and Fliff, right? An arbitrage bet. Yay. Make a risk-free profit of 1.16%. Fliff has a max bet size of $250. Turn that into $567 risk-free. Just go over to BetOnline, place your bet. Go over to Fliff, place your bet. Make a risk-free $567. But anyways, hopefully this live stream was helpful.